Hey man, have you got any suggestions of what I could do for my next kill team?
Just dwarves.
Haha, very funny, you know there's no dwarves in space.
Christ's sake, Ben, just do dwarves.
Look man, how many times do we have to go through this? There's no dwarves in 40k, you know this.
I'm telling you, Ben, you need to do dwarves.
Well, I guess I could do space dwarves?
Be a man and do dwarves.
So yes, in this video I'm going to be building and painting my very own space dwarves or squat kill team. Although the squats were technically a stout and stocky subspecies of humanity, they very much resemble what we've come to associate with dwarven faction tropes, such as being on the short side compared to humans, and culturing vast and bushy beards. Now, unfortunately, Games Workshop got rid of the squats from the 40k lineup a long time ago, hence where the term squatted came from, with the exception of a single character that has since made its way back into the Necromunda range. The lore goes that the squats' homeworld were attacked and ravaged by a Tyranid fleet, and that only a handful of squats are now left alive. For this reason, if we want to use squats in game, we have to be a little bit inventive, both with the miniatures that we use and the rules that we use to represent them in game. After recently looking through the Mantic miniatures range, I stumbled across the Forge Fathers, one of the races from their games Warpath and Dead Zone, which has recently had a new edition overhaul. I reached out to the dudes at Mantic and they kindly sent me a box of these Forge Father Steel Warriors, which are perfect proxies for squats. Now, as squats no longer exist as their own faction in 40k, it's obvious that they're not really going to have their own rules in Kill Team either. So this opens up a couple of options to us as wargamers. We can either create house rules for use in our own games, or use rules from other factions that somewhat represent them. Both have their pros and cons, but I will personally be playing these guys as though they are Imperial Guard. With the squats being a subspecies of humanity, and with these models being armed in very much the same way as the Astra Militarum, this makes them perfect proxies without ruining that in-game immersion. Using proxy models and forging your own narrative with miniatures and armies is something that I love doing. Whilst I do really like a lot of the Games Workshop official models, sometimes it's just fun to use something completely different to really create your own story. Now, I want to introduce you to this video sponsor, Artiscapade. Artiscapade reached out to me and sent me a set of their super reasonably priced Pro Series fine detail brushes for me to try out. The set contains a total of 15 brushes split into 4 different types, and each type comes in multiple sizes. The Taclon synthetic bristles are perfect for working with different paint types too, from acrylics like I'm using in this video, to oils and even watercolours if that's your thing. The handles are ergonomically designed and feel very natural in the hand. They feel like they'll be super comfortable for extended painting sessions, and at the bargain price of only £26.99 for the full set at the time of recording, they feel like they'll be excellent value. If you want to pick up a set of these, go and have a look at the description below and you'll find a discount code for an extra 15% off. That's enough about these brushes, let's see how well they work getting some paint on my squats. I'm opting for a very Imperial Guard colour aesthetic with these guys, using lots of greens, greys and browns, and I'm starting by base coating all of the cloth areas in a dark grey, followed by a camo green colour over all of the armour plates, and dark brown on all the leather areas. There are also a few metallic areas on these miniatures too that I'm going to be painting in a super bright silver colour. In my painting, I tend to gravitate towards darker and more subdued colours and tones, but in these guys I want to push a little spot of brightness, which is going to be the metallics. I'm also wanting the beards on these guys to be very reminiscent of the fantasy dwarves that I remember when I was growing up. So on the dwarves that have bare faces and their beards exposed, I'm going to go for a bright ginger beard to make them really stand out. With my base coats down, I'm applying washes to all the relevant areas to create nicely heavily shaded recesses. This guy is going to be my sergeant, armed with a bolt pistol and energy weapon. I've already given him a slightly different helmet to all the other guys to make him stand out, but I'm also going to paint his in brown, whilst the rest of the crew will be the more standard camo green. With all the base colours and washes down, I simply highlight back up using the base colours, followed by some edge highlighting with progressively brighter tones, and finish off by painting in all the last little details, like the lenses on the helmets and other small details, just to make these minis really pop. Last but not least, I'm going to base them using the ever faithful Geek Gaming Desert Sand and Stone and Superfine Tropical Beach base ready. I often feel like I should be way more adventurous with my basing, but when it looks this good and it's this simple, I don't know why I'd change. I've linked all the products that I've used to get these guys to a tabletop standard down below, so go and check them out for yourselves. And with that, my squat kill team is done. I'm really pleased with how these guys have turned out, and I'm really looking forward to getting my second fire team painted up so I can take them to the table. I also really enjoyed painting using the Artiscapade brushes that worked really well. Some of the standout brushes for me were the larger liner brushes that were not only great for getting base coats down, but also really nice for applying washes due to the longer bristles and thick body. At no point whilst painting with these did I miss using my more expensive brushes, and if you're after some cheap brushes then they're really worth checking out, so go make sure you have a look at the description below to get an extra 15% off. If you want to help the channel, then check out my Patreon program down below, and if you're going to be buying any hobby supplies anyway, then go and check out and click on my Element Games affiliate link. Every purchase you make gives me a little kickback from the guys at Element Games, which really helps support what I do. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.